I've always wanted to become an artist, and it's always been a part of my DNA. But to become an artist, there's a lot. I've taken a lot of diversions from that, and that's basically all been a part of becoming an artist. So I've studied several different things, I've done several different jobs, and I'm very happy to have ended up where I always planned to be an artist. I chose to be a sculptor, but it probably also took me some consideration before I became a sculptor. First I thought I was a painter, and I enjoyed painting, but one way or the other I always ended up doing a three-dimensional piece, and now I just feel it's so right for me to be a sculptor, and I'm enjoying the three-dimensional work, and I have a hard time seeing me ever going back to the wall-based pieces. I enjoy working with bronze a lot, and bronze is a very historic associated material to work in, and I think that kind of attracts me, but it also makes it very difficult to work with. There's heavy associations with bronze sculpture, and I've tried to bring them into the 21st century in working with the metal in another way. So basically trying to give it a fluidity which is essential to my work. This piece is done in a very traditional way. It's the lost wax method, and this is a method that has been used for over 3,000 years, and it's a very time-consuming process. The way I work with the bronze is the traditional lost wax method, and I start out in clay, work a mold around the clay, use wax into the mold, flush out the wax, pour in the metal in a ceramic shell. And that is a significant part of the process. But what is different to this piece here is what comes after that, and that is the welding and the polishing, and the degree of welding and polishing that I'm taking these pieces to is what is taking up a significant amount of time for my process. Several hours, many hours of polishing that brings it to that level. And usually when bronze is cast, there are several little holes in the cast, and to get a bronze piece to this level, you need to weld out each little hole in the bronze, polish over, and polish it up to a level that is probably requires around over 20 different steps. This piece I've done here is based on the idea of a traditional bust, and the reason that I'm doing that's because my work is about identity and belonging, and the way that you historically displayed that was with a traditional bust on a marble piece. The reason I'm putting it like that, so I've started working with a face, put layers on top of that, making it flow together, so you have these layers to your person, to your identity, building up over time and melting together. So you have your different roles, your different identities melding together in one person. And this, the piece, the reason I'm putting it on a piece of wood, that is to symbolize the time. So the wood symbolizes the time that it takes for these things to flow together as well. I don't see myself as a surrealist artist, but I can see the references in my pieces to some of Salvador Dali's timepieces, so I can definitely see these references.
What, to Dali and to Miro, for example?
Yeah, probably more Dali than Miro. I wouldn't say they are the surrealists are not like a base for my inspiration, but I can see the references in my piece to their work. I like my pieces to be fluent and show some metamorphosis, basically referring to how we change over time. But it's also a reference to the world today, not only how our multicultural, very internet-connected societies is linked up and impact our identity more than ever, but also a reference back in time to how that search always had been a part of us, the human search for identity and belonging, and that have been going on forever. It's a part of our human existence, so I think that is why that link very much together. I met Jason Colin Carter at my graduation show at Chelsea College of Art, and we've kept in contact since then. This is my first show with him, and I'm very pleased to be a part of a group show that reflects so many different practices and in this new gallery space. I think the variety in this show is working very well together. I think group shows often are difficult to put together, but I think this show has been really put together in a very nice way. And I'm also happy that I'm the only sculptor here, because having several sculptors together, it can create a little bit of some issues about how the pieces work in a space where it's probably easier to do it with paintings for a group show than with sculptures, that's all. Going forward, my biggest issues is basically giving life to all my ideas. I've got an idea list that I add to on a nearly daily basis, and because my pieces are incredible time consuming and I enjoy the process of making them as well, it is very hard for me to give them a life, and therefore the critical part for me is really to get my process improved, and for that I'm working really hard, also involving some technology into my work, not only the traditional way of making things with lost wax, but I'm trying to get my grip around the 3D printing world, and that is incredibly challenging, and being taught right now my 6th software in the 3-dimensional world, so it's hopefully something that can help me in my prose and give a life to more of my ideas going forward.